Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your ridiculously over good brother, Anthony Floyo, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher, the phenom Michael Bullock. Not sure if the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson will be joining us or not. I haven't gotten it. We haven't heard anything, but I sent her an invite. If she comes in, we'll catch her up on what she missed, if anything, or if not, then we'll see about maybe Wednesday. But for right now, Monday Night Raw, and oh boy, they went there tonight. A lot of things. They went there. And during this show, at some point, we will have a huge news and views topic for a moment. But before we get into that, let's get into Monday Night Raw, which was live tonight from the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, exclusively on the USA Network, as always. And surprise, surprise, we start off with what else? A elongated windbag talking segment. But this was one of the better ones. You know, Seth Rollins, the newly named Murphy, and the AOP. It was really Seth Rollins who, went on and on and on. And then Kevin Owens comes out and the Viking Raiders come out. They get 3-on-3, and then Samoa Joe sneaks up from behind on Seth Rollins with a Coquina clutch, to the delight of myself and Michael Bullock, during our Raw chat this evening. So, and it set the groundwork for the big 8-man main event. Solid opening segment, if I'm going to be honest here. I mean, no new ground was covered, and that was fine for this week because the feud is still enjoyable. But my concern is that it will get repetitive and it'll feel like Rollins and Owens are running out of fresh things to say to one another. They're both good talkers, so I hope I'm wrong. And if you haven't heard by now, Buddy Murphy lost his first name and it's just Murphy now because they felt the name Buddy was a little foofy for Seth Rollins' new faction. So that's why he's going by Murphy now. So that's really all I can say on this. So, MF or Bullock, do you guys want to get into this, or do you want to just move on? It's totally up to you guys.
I'll take a swing at this for a moment, Florio. This was a solid segment. I really got really nothing more to add. I mean, they did what they had to do. I thought it was pretty good talking wise. I'm not gonna go any more than that. So no, I'm just gonna leave it at that. And yeah, that's it.
All right, Bullock, do you want to get a quick thought in, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, I'll get in a quick thought. I mean, I thought it was indeed a good segment to start it off. I mean, it did set the tone for tonight's show. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more that I think that really needs to be added. So, I say we just move on for you.
Oh, we're gonna move on, all right. Ho, we're gonna move on. The return match from the Royal Rumble. It was the man, Becky Lynch, defending the Raw Women's Championship against Asuka with Kairi Sane in her corner. Before the match, Asuka did her angry Japanese gibberish routine, which I have been absolutely loving as of late. You can ask Bullock how much I love it. But nonetheless, winner of the match in an even 19 minutes, and still the Raw Women's Champion, the man, Becky Lynch. She wins it with some sort of rock bottom type move for the 1-2-3. A very interesting finish there. But wait, there was more. It was rumored. Well, guess what? The rumors were true. The Queen of Spades. In my opinion, the greatest NXT Women's Champion of all time, the submission magician, Shayna Baszler, She gets a cheap shot in on Becky Lynch from behind. And this is what I meant by the show went there tonight. Like a damn carnivore. Yes, I said carnivore. You know what carnivores love? They love meat. She was also like a vampire, if you will. And what do vampires like to do? They like to bite your necks and suck the blood. Well, guess what? That is exactly what Shayna Baszler did this evening. Like a vampire, bit Becky Lynch's neck, and you saw the end result. Bullock and I couldn't believe it during our Raw chat, but MF, I mean, there's no question about it. This was hands down the fight of the night. But what happened afterward? Shayna Baszler, like a dang carnivore vampire, man. Wow.
Dude, she Mike Tyson'd Becky Lynch. There's no way around it. There's no way to slice it. That was a little uncomfortable. I will openly admit that. That was wow. I don't think there's anything we can say about that. That was just straight up wow. Can you believe that happened? But at the end of the day, if that's one way to get the attention of Becky Lynch, you did it. That got the attention of everybody on the Raw roster. And yeah, you have to say it now. There's no doubts. I don't know how you do not make this happen now. So, the fight itself was 3.5 stars. You could even say 3 3/4. But the after is the biggest thing that we're talking about, and just Shayna's way of welcoming herself into WWE, into the main roster. I mean, yikes! That's all I'm going to say. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, like you said, Fletch. I mean, when me and Flora we were watching this, I mean, the match, like you said, I mean, was pretty awesome, and I'll say 4 stars on the match. I mean, and this was no doubt the fight of the night, but what happened afterwards? I mean, yeah, the Queen of Spades showed up, and boy howdy, she made a name for herself at the expense of the man. And yeah, like Florio said, like a damn carnivore, she bit the neck of the man. And there were times, I mean, during the whole thing, I was just cringing. I mean, I'm saying to myself, how can you let someone do something like that? But if that was a way of getting the man's attention, well, congratulations. I think you got her attention, and somewhere down the line, the match is going to be made official for WrestleMania. Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's title. And you know what? I'll even go on the record and say this. I'll say that come WrestleMania, we're going to have a brand new Raw Women's Champion. So, 4 stars on the match, but I think it's only a matter of time before we make the match official, Florio. It's yours.
Yeah, we just don't know when that will be at this time, but yes, fight of the night. Like I said, I agree with Bullock's rating. This was the rating we agreed on, solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed the match. They are both very good wrestlers. We expected a quality match, but there was no doubt regarding the outcome. But the match was even better than we anticipated, and the wrestlers really drew me in with their hard work. The bite angle felt unnecessary because Lynch and Baszler sells itself in a lot of ways, but it was definitely an attention grabber. and we'll see where it goes. But you saw how it went. I mean, Becky, epic freak out. I mean, Becky was freaking the F out. That's all there was to say on that. And then she channeled her inner Stone Cold Steve Austin, and she commandeered the ambulance. She drove that sucker by herself, man. Oh, my word. I mean, yeah, I was going crazy during that with Bullock on the Raw chat there. But man alive, I mean, when MF said a little uncomfortable, I was going to chime in and say, oh, little? No. That was more than a little uncomfortable. It was beyond uncomfortable. I mean, I cringed more during that than I do during Pete Dunne matches, for goodness sakes. And you know, it's well documented how much I cringe during Pete Dunne matches. But if I had to compare what I saw Shayna do tonight and a Pete Dunne match, I'd rather watch a Pete Dunne match and what he does with the digits, if you know what I mean. So, but God Almighty, I mean, that was a carnivore and a vampire combined. That's what Shayna Baszler was. I mean, I haven't seen. I'm sure Luigi PS3 probably posted a video of it on her YouTube, and I can only imagine she was probably freaked out like all of us. I wouldn't be surprised if she threw in the word savage on top of that. That was beyond savage. So, man, that was an attention grabber, all right. And yes, Bullock, I do agree with you. Sometime down the road, we got plenty of time to build it. We got a couple of months to build it. But I think at the end of the day, it'll ultimately be Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 36. So, but man, that was epic. So, but you know, we have to have a cool down. You know, we have to have cutouts here. What's the show without them? Street Profits against 24/7 champion Mojo Rawley and Riddick Moss. Street Profits win the match in 45 seconds. And then Riddick Moss turns his back on Mojo Rawley, small packages him, and Riddick Moss is now the new 24/7 champion. So an immediate impact from Riddick Moss. So that's really all there is to say on that. I mean, poor Mojo. That's all I can say on that. It really looked like they were setting him up to be a different type of champion, but he lost the title and quickly regained it to R-Truth on the night Riddick was introduced. Got buried by McIntyre, and now Moss, who has yet to say a word on Raw. But then we move on to the return of MVP's VIP Lounge. Oh boy, it's been forever and a day since we've seen this. And his guest was Drew McIntyre. And then from there, what happened was MVP was basically trying to steal Drew McIntyre's spotlight because he wanted to be his quote-unquote business manager. Drew McIntyre wasn't having it. Glasgow kiss headbutt, and then 3, 2, 1, Claymore. See ya, bye, MVP. You guys want to get into this or what? Bullock?
Not interested.
Okay. And I take it. All right. So
Don't give two you-know-whats about it.
okay. Now, I never would have predicted a McIntyre and MVP segment tonight. It wasn't bad, but it would have worked better if the MVP talk show character was better established. I don't know if it was a one and done, but MVP is a good talker, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of the VIP lounge. But more importantly, McIntyre continues to click as seems to be building a bit more momentum each week, and it's showing that likable side of his personality that made him so effective as the lead babyface in Impact Wrestling in 2016 when he was the World Heavyweight Champion over there. So that's all we can say on that. Then we had Angel Garza. Angel Garza, along with, as MF calls her, the sexy Zelina Vega. And he went up against Cedric Alexander. Angel Garza wins the match 2 minutes 45 seconds with the wing clipper. Garza continues to shine in the ring, and more importantly, he has a ton of charisma. So, not sure what else there is to say on that. Then we had and then Sarah Logan. Sarah Logan called out the NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley because of a backstage altercation between the two of them. And yeah, be careful what you wish for, Sarah Logan. You got it. Rhea Ripley came out. They had a match, and Rhea Ripley squashed her in 37 seconds. And then Charlotte comes out and, well, don't get excited about the match being made official yet because, well, the Queen doing what she's been doing best over these last couple of weeks keeps that son of a gun dragging and dragging and dragging and dragging. At this rate, we probably won't make the match official until the week before WrestleMania, for goodness sakes. But, it is what it is. But eventually they will. So, but Charlotte feels fresh again now that she has a new and strong opponent to work with. And I am enjoying the mind games that she's playing with Ripley by making her wait, by not giving her an answer. So that's all we can say on that. Now, remember when I said we had a news and views segment? MF, did you want to get into that?
Well, I just wanted to say that I think the reason why they don't want to tip the hand yet is because I think they're going to want to wait for the winner of the NXT title fight between Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I think once we have the winner, then I'm pretty sure you're going to see the challenge be laid out. I think we just got to wait for whoever comes out of the title fight before we can say yes or no. Even though I think a lot of people will agree that it most likely will be Rhea Ripley or the NXT Women's Champion being the one to fight Charlotte at WrestleMania, but we just don't want to tip the hand on who it's going to be yet.
Well, we personally will tip the hand come Friday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk when we preview NXT TakeOver Portland. So that will be a little bit of a tipping of the hand there. So remember earlier when we started here, I said that there was going to be a big news and views item here. Well, here it is. If you didn't hear about it, around 9 o'clock or so this morning, WWE made the announcement. And next year, gentlemen, WrestleMania 37 is going Hollywood. Circle the date of March the 28th, 2021 on your calendars. Well, once you get your 2021 calendars. Because on that day, WrestleMania 37 will be emanating from the brand new SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Whoa, Nelly. Woo-hoo-hoo. Can you imagine what that gorgeous new stadium is going to look like with the Mania setup? Oh, my goodness gracious. MF or Bullock, you guys want to give a quick thought on that? I mean, can you imagine what that beautiful new stadium is going to look like with WrestleMania setup?
Yeah, it's a big stadium already. The stage and everything else is gonna be massive. When they do it in these outdoor venues, they're always big. They're always amazing.
Oh yeah.
WrestleMania has become a mega event nowadays. So yeah, I could see SoFi. SoFi is gonna be absolutely astronomical. They're already predicting about 105,000. Like, that's how much they could probably fit in there for WrestleMania. So, I mean,
will it break 32's record?
I think there's a very good chance 32's record could fall. There's a very good chance 32 record is gonna fall.
Amen.
There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be a great event. That's the key. That's the factor. for it to be in California, to be back in the West Coast again is awesome. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited for that. So I mean, no, I'm happy for the city of California, for Inglewood. This is going to be their first major event that they're going to have. As a matter of fact, I think they announced recently that their first event is actually going to be a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift is gonna christen SoFi Stadium. Then behind that, you're gonna have, the Rams and the Chargers playing in that stadium. You're gonna have WrestleMania, and then the very next year, you're gonna have WrestleMania, and then the very next year, the Super Bowl.
56.
So I mean, SoFi Stadium's gonna be definitely gonna have a really good thing going in. So yeah, nothing more to say.
Michael Bullock, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, I've seen the pictures of the stadium with what it's going to look like when it is completed, and it looks really good. And I definitely cannot wait to see how jammed it's really going to be when it comes to next year's WrestleMania. I mean, and it's going to start in the late afternoon there because it is out west. So it's going to be interesting to see how it is around that time. So, but it's a beautiful venue, and definitely can't wait to see it host WrestleMania. And yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. Let's just move on, Florio.
Yeah, it'll be 4:00 Pacific time when we get to that next year, and if they're smart, there is a roof on it. If they're smart, and considering it's California, don't be surprised if they open that sucker. Oh my God.
I don't think they're gonna, because of the fact with the lighting, with everything that they're gonna want to do with WrestleMania. I think they might keep that sucker closed. I'm sorry, Anthony, but right. I don't expect with the pyrotechnics that they want to do with the show and everything else, I just don't see them, unless they do it like they did at WrestleMania 26, where they open it, close it throughout the afternoon. That's the only way I see it, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to keep the roof closed.
Fair enough. I didn't even think about that, but okay. Now going in, I didn't really have high hopes for this next matchup, but this one ended up being the sleeper fight of the night right here. The number one contender right now for the WWE Championship, Ricochet. He went up against Bobby Lashley with Lana in his corner, and Ricochet wins the match in 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, I lost track on who's supposed to start. I think it's Bullock, right? So,
yes.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is me.
All right, it goes to Bullock then. So, yeah, Bullock. Ricochet beats Bobby Lashley 11 minutes and 5 seconds with the 6:30. How about it? Ricochet gets that much needed momentum.
Yeah, he definitely needed that much needed momentum, and he wanted to prove to everybody that last week's when he pinned Bobby Lashley was no fluke, and he proved it to those, especially to Mr. Bobby Lashley. Yeah, I'll give this about I'm gonna give this an even 3 stars, maybe even 3.25. Yeah, I mean, this turned out to be a much better match than what I expected. I mean, I really didn't have much high hopes for this at the beginning when they did announce the match, but I'll tell you what, I think Ricochet carried Bobby Lashley to a really good match here because of his body of work. So, Yeah, 3 stars for me, maybe 3.25. Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, 3 to 3.25 stars. The logic here was simple in that Ricochet defeated someone comparable in size and athletic ability to Lesnar. Come on, are we really actually buying into Ricochet actually beating Lesnar at Super Showdown? Now, Ricochet is extremely talented in the ring, but his promo delivery is a little on the weak side, and his verbiage is straight out of the sappy babyface playbook. And it's a shame that WWE just can't seem to get it, perfectly right with him. But, it is what it is. So that's really all I can say on that. But it was a better than expected match. So 3 to 3.25 stars. I'll say sleeper fight of the night. So MF, how about it?
I think this is going to be one of those cases for Ricochet against Lesnar that Ricochet is going to bring Lesnar the best fight, but at the end, Lesnar will win. It's one of those that even will openly admit it. This will be something similar to what AJ Styles did against Lesnar and what Daniel Bryan did against Lesnar. Two small guys that's going to bring out the best of Brock Lesnar in a fight, but unfortunately, Ricochet won't get the job done. Ricochet will come short, but he's going to give him everything. Who knows? We might get a hope spot where Ricochet might topple the beast. You never know. They could do that.
Well, there's one other guy that you forgot to mention, MF. What about Finn Balor at last year's Royal Rumble?
Balor, a very strong case for Balor. And Balor, as you remember, had a hope spot in the fight where we were like, oh my God, is he going to do this? So, I mean, yeah, obviously the result is not in doubt because they're going to want to protect Lesnar and they're going to want to do Lesnar versus McIntyre for WrestleMania. Okay, I get it. But at the end of the day, you're going to see a good fight. You're going to see a good match. So I really got nothing else to say. As far as the fight goes, yeah, it was a little more of a surprise decent fight. I give this a solid 2.5 stars. So I got nothing more to add.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's move into what ended up, we go from a sleeper fight to a sleeper segment. Randy Orton, as I call him nowadays, the human heat magnet. And man, he is getting absolutely crucified for what he did a couple of weeks ago against Edge. And then out of nowhere, here comes Matt Hardy. And then Matt Hardy cuts a great promo of his own, talking about the history of him and Edge, including that the little personal feud that they had because of the Lita situation 15 years ago. But then he made up with him, and they talked about how he, Edge, Christian, and Jeff, would stay in the same hotel room, and talked about how they revolutionized and, the TLC match and the whole 9 yards. And then Orton took him out with an RKO, and Orton did a concerto to Matt Hardy like he did to Edge. Very good angle. Matt Hardy did a great job in his real history with Edge, added to the ongoing Orton and Edge storyline, feeling more real than everything else on the show. This may have been the write-off for Matt Hardy, whose deal with WWE is expected to expire shortly. If that should be the case, that was a heck of a way to go out. Well done. That was one of Matt Hardy's best promos in a very long time. And this segment came out really, really well done. Segment of the night for me. This was absolutely brilliant. Well done. So, but at the end of the day, MF, I mean, your boy, Randy Orton,
claimed another victim.
RKO out of nowhere. A concerto to Matt Hardy, just like he did to Edge 2 weeks ago. Yes, you said it best. Next victim for the Viper. And I know you couldn't be any more delighted about that.
Yeah, and the thing is that I get it. I don't mind it. It was well done. It was well scripted. It was really good. I got really nothing bad to say about that. And as far as everything else goes, look, it adds to Orton's heel-like persona, the realness of Matt Hardy, and I appreciate Matt doing that. I think what Matt did, it humanized the whole thing. And we are absolutely right about it. We know the history of Matt Hardy and Edge. We know about what happened between Lita, Matt, and Edge and everything else. But, like he said, he was able to bury the hatchet. Edge is now with Beth Phoenix. Matt Hardy has a beautiful wife, 2 lovely children on his own. And like he said, they were able to find common ground. So at the end of the day, it's as good as you could have gotten, but holy freaking crap, what a segment. And again, Randy Orton, look, he draws the negative heat, he draws everything for the power, and he's done an incredible job. And that's the best thing that you can do. By making nuclear heat and everything else, you're making it really good for this is a win for everybody if you think about it. Everybody wins on this. I really got nothing else to add. So, Mike Bullock, I give it to you. Really good segment.
Yeah, this was a really good segment here. Segment of the night, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, look, you want to continue to build that heat with Randy Orton. I mean, he basically told the people, and this is pretty much what I expected when he said, "I don't owe you people an explanation." It hurt me more than when what I did to Edge. And then Matt Hardy basically come out and basically showed a side of him and basically said, look, I mean, Edge and I, we revolutionized the TLC match. Yes, we may have had our problems in the past, but we became really good friends, especially when Edge retired. And what you did, Orton, was totally reprehensible. And then Orton just retaliated with an RKO and then a concerto. So it continues to really build the heat on Randy Orton. And of course, it's only a matter of time before we get Randy Orton versus Edge at WrestleMania. Florio, it's yours.
Exactly right. So let's move on. Then we had Aleister Black squash Akira Tozawa in a minute and a half. And he cuts another one of his bizarre promos. And then from there, Becky Lynch came back. And, she basically, called out Shayna Baszler. And she said she was going to go after her. I mean, we already got into that. And a new match has been announced for Super Showdown. The first ever 2-way trophy gauntlet match. AJ Styles, Rusev, R-Truth, Bobby Lashley, United States Heavyweight Champion Andrade, and Eric Rowan. Well, the Saudis love their trophies, man. And, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So, then to the main event, 8-man tag team matchup. Seth Rollins, Murphy, AOP, squaring off against Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and the Viking Raiders. The heel team wins the match. 14 minutes, 35 seconds. Samoa Joe
Boy, we just lost Florio.
All right, so we know the heel team won it, and I think Anthony was going to lead off. So, look, solid fight, good main event, no doubt about it. I could give this about maybe 3 stars, 3.25. I thought it was a solid main event. I really have really nothing more to add here. So, Mike Bullock, let's give it to you. I know he said it was over 14 minutes in the main event. Oh, there you go, Florio. So we were just talking about the match. I don't know if you were gonna go through schematics or anything else. So I gave my thoughts. I gave it 3 to 3.25 stars.
Did Bullock get his thought in?
No, he didn't. Bullock, you can go ahead.
14 minutes, 35 seconds, the time of the match.
All right, I was right. It was about 14 minutes. So Bullock, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3 to 3.5 stars for the main event. I mean, it was a good solid way to close out the show. No surprise that the heel team was going to go over here. So yeah, so I don't think there's anything else that needs to be added. So Florio, it's yours.
3 to 3.5 stars, but this feud is getting repetitive now. I mean, I like the wrestlers involved, and I wasn't even feeling that way earlier in the night. But once the bell rang, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had seen variations of this before, and the outcome of the match was trivial. I like the finish, but I still think they can get more out of some of these wrestlers feuding with one another. But we need a break from the 6 and 8-man tag matches. But don't be surprised if we get one more with the babyface team going over in some sort of revenge match next week. So that's really all we can say on that. So 3 to 3.5 for the main event. So really nothing more to say except let's get into the overall review for this edition of Monday Night Raw this evening. And Michael Bullock, we're going to start it off with you since MF had the main event.
All right. Yeah, when it comes to this, I mean, I'll give this maybe about 6.5. Yeah, 6.5, I think is the correct rating. Maybe, you know what? I'll say 6.5 to 7. I thought it was a good show. I mean, obviously the highlight, the match of the night was obviously Becky and Asuka, and then of course what we saw with what Shayna Baszler did, and then of course you had a good main event, and of course you did have some good segments, but obviously you also had what else? Your cutouts. So 6.5 to 7 is my rating for this edition of Raw. So Florio, it's yours.
I'm right there with you, Bullock. 6.5, teetering on 7. I agree with that 100%. I mean, we had 3 quality matches. Of course, Becky and Asuka, they stole the show tonight. Ricochet and Lashley with a very surprising match. And it was one of Bobby Lashley's better outings in a while. And the main event was good. And, of course, what really was good was that great segment with Randy Orton and Matt Hardy. I mean, Matt was really good there. And that pretty much eliminated Matt Hardy. Good, fun, and chaotic main event. And so overall, hour 1 started with a fun open between Seth and Friends battling Kevin and Friends, setting up tonight's big tag match. Followed with Becky and Asuka, which was very good, and was followed up by the really good Shayna attack angle, although it was a trifle unnecessary. And then it was followed by a Street Profits squash and a 24/7 title change. Overall, good first hour. Hour 2 started with the solid but not overly spectacular VIP lounge, and Drew knocking him out, and then Carrillo and Garza continuing their rivalry. Rhea Ripley squashing Sarah Logan and continuing the Charlotte feud. Closed with a solid Ricochet Lashley match. Not as good as hour 1, and then hour 3 with that great confrontation with Randy Orton and Matt Hardy. Aleister Black squashing Akira Tozawa. Becky channeling her inner Stone Cold. And then the main event. Good, chaotic, and main event. Overall, I liked last week's show a little more, but I felt this show was a solid effort overall. So 6.5, teetering on 7. Bullock got it exactly right. So MF, are we going to make it unanimous? Or are you going to go higher, lower? What?
6.5 out of 10. I'm actually in an agreement with you guys. I just don't think I can go 7, but 6.5 is a solid number. That's a very good number. I thought it was a very good show. I really got nothing else to add, guys. So yeah, let's just move right along. Tony, it's time for your Tony's take.
Yes, indeed it is. And we are gonna get into Impact Wrestling as we continue the tapings from Mexico, and let's see what we have here. It started with Tessa Blanchard, the World Heavyweight Champion, cutting a promo, and she called out Ace Austin, but she didn't just get Ace Austin. She also got the Reno Scum as well. And one member of Reno Scum, Adam Thornstowe, went up against Tessa Blanchard, and Tessa Blanchard won that match in 8 minutes. 2.5-star match. It made sense as one of Ace's heaters tried to soften up Tessa, but I felt that Thornstowe as a disciple minion there took too much of the match against the world champion, but the match was solid. Rhino against Taurus. Rhino wins by disqualification, 6 minutes, 55 seconds because of interference by Moose. A 2-star match. It was all right, but it was lethargic and had a flat finish to set up the Moose versus Rhino at Sacrifice. Rosemary against Susie. That went to a no contest in 3 minutes. And it looks like Su Yung might be on her way back. Oh, good God. What a shame, too. I was really digging the Susie thing. I really was. She is a beautiful woman. She really is. But when you put that Su Yung get up back on that, I'm going to be cringing again. But it's an interesting angle, and I'm willing to see where they go with it. So that's all there is to say there. Early candidate for, when it comes to TV matches of the year in Impact Wrestling, this is a candidate for a match of the year right here. TJP against Vikingo, and TJP wins the match 13 minutes and 40 seconds. This was the fight of the night. This was a 4-star match. It was rather great. The crowd was into it. A nice mix of submission work and high-flying action. TJP continues to deliver. And why is Vikingo still in Mexico? Get him a visa and get him here to the States. I want to see more of it. Then we had Jake and Dave Crist against Daga and Dr. Wagner Jr. Daga and Dr. Wagner Jr. win the match 8 minutes, 20 seconds, a 2.5-star match. It was solid, but felt disjointed and far from smooth at times. And then the main event of the evening was a Falls Count Anywhere street fight with X Division champion Ace Austin against Tommy Dreamer. Ace Austin wins the match, 19 minutes and 55 seconds. 2-star match, I'm sorry. Tommy Dreamer working 20-minute TV main events in 2020 doing his ECW tribute act is completely sad, and especially on a show where TJP and Vikingo stole the show. No disrespect to Tommy Dreamer. I'm sure he works hard and all, and yes, he loses, but Austin had to work overtime to make him look somewhat passable. Yes, Austin won, and that's great, but I just don't see what a win over Tommy Dreamer means this year. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate Dreamer putting guys over, but not in main events, and it felt really long, but it ended up okay because Ace Austin is, rather great and a future star. So 6 out of 10. It was an overall solid show with a nice setup for next week, for this upcoming week, and you got to go out of your way to see that TJP and Vikingo match. I mean, that was insane. So nothing really more to say on that. Let's get into what we can expect for this coming week on the show. I read them a little bit earlier on, and I got to tell you, all I can say is that in one way or another, history will be made on this show. We had Madman Fulton against Daga, Falaba against Ethan Page of the North, RVD against Joey Ryan, Desi Hit Squad against Willie Mack and Johnny Swinger, Taya Valkyrie defends the Knockouts Championship against Jordan Grace, and match 2 of the Best of 5 series for the Call Your Shot Trophy, Michael Elgin and Eddie Edwards. So that all goes down 8 p.m. Eastern, on Access TV with an encore at 11. For those of you who either missed it or you just want to see it again, or if you don't have Access TV, hop on over to Twitch and you can watch it with MF, because that's how MF does it nowadays. So that's really all we can say on that. So now let's get into 205 Live, and we started it off with a tag team matchup: Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan against D. Brian Kendrick and Arya Davari. It was Kendrick and Davari winning the match by disqualification. 2-star match. It was okay, but had no crowd heat, and the work of the heels, who mainly controlled, had absolutely no intensity or sense of urgency to it. The feud must continue. Singh brothers in a squash match. No comment. And then a 3-way matchup. The new Cruiserweight champion, the Irish Ace, Jordan Devlin from NXT UK, against Lio Rush and Tony Nese, 2 former Cruiserweight champions in their own right. And it was Jordan Devlin who wins the match in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. 3.5 stars. Fight of the night, far and away. Very good main event. All 3 worked hard to deliver. And it gave us the only thing that was worth anything on the show, worth your time to go out and see. So 5.5. That's really all I can give it. Those first 2 matches really killed it. I mean, while the main event was a very good and fun match, 205 Live, this past 205 Live was another show that was below average. With 500 people or whatever the insane number is under contract, the best you can do almost every week is to trot out Arya Davari and the Singh brothers to kill 2/3 of the show, when guys like Akira Tozawa and Cedric Alexander would vastly improve things. I mean, it's not like they're doing all on Raw these days, but fish Kushida out of the bin while you're at it. That would have been, that'd be okay. So that's really all I can say on that. It's a 5.5. So really nothing more to say. And that's it. That puts the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Wednesday night, the usual 10:30 start time. Is that correct, MF? All right, I'll take that as a yes. So, yep, okay. 10:30 Wednesday night, we will be back with you over on MF's channel, Race Fan 95, Wednesday Night Mayhem. You know what we do there. We talk about AEW Dynamite and NXT. Thursday, 10 p.m., Strictly Sports. We definitely need to figure out what we want to do for the docket for that show. There is one thing that we're definitely going to do. We're pleased to announce that we will be including the XFL. XFL is going to be added. We're definitely going to get into that after the great success of week 1. We're going to preview the 4 games of week 2. We'll also talk about NHL All-Star Weekend. You know, we'll recap the skills competition and the game itself. I think we should also get into this weekend, which is the NBA All-Star festivities, All-Star Saturday night, and the NBA All-Star game itself. That'll be at the United Center in Chicago. And NBA trading deadline, we will definitely get into that as well. And we also had a big trade in Major League Baseball as well, and that's something I feel strongly needs to be addressed as well. So we'll get into the Major League Baseball, the big trade in Major League Baseball. We will also talk about the NBA trading deadline. We'll recap the NHL All-Star Weekend, and in the main event, we're gonna save the XFL for the main event. We're gonna preview the 4 games of week number 2, and well, we should do the NHL All-Star Weekend first because that technically was first, and then we'll get into the big trades, MLB and the Mookie Betts trade and the NBA trading deadline. We'll preview the NBA All-Star Weekend, and then, of course, in the main event, it'll be the XFL. So, actually, scratch that. XFL and the NBA All-Stars. will be the main event. That's all there is to say on that. So, and then Friday night, of course, we'll have the Cerebral Smack Talk, Friday night SmackDown recap, and then we will also preview NXT Takeover Portland. And I'm not sure when the recap will be. Will we do a recap immediately following Sunday night, or will we save that for the next Wednesday Night Mayhem? So we'll figure that out. So that's it. We'll talk about it. All right. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF, it's Anthony Floyer, your ridiculously over good brother here, for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel D.D. Woodson, and always and forever Derek Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, watching Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. Have a blessed couple of days, rather. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamer.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one. For now, Anthony Floyer, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.